What's up guys? What's the difference between a telephoto zoom lens and a super telephoto zoom lens, you ask? Well, a whole lot. This is the Tamron 150-600 F5-6.3 VC DIG2. It opens up a world of possibilities for your photos, and that takes some practice. And we want to thank photographer Frederick Bonneau for sharing his awesome wildlife photos taken here in Florida using the Tamron 150-600 G2. All super telephoto lenses have a few things in common, and knowing what these are will help you get more creative with your photos. Now, the compression effect is a great tool for creating dramatic photos. And what I mean by compression is that whatever is in the background will look closer and larger than what it really is, adding more impact to the image. For example, if you take a photo of a person with something interesting in the background, like a tree, a building, or a mountain with a wide-angle lens, the object in the background will appear small in the frame, getting lost in the composition. Now, if you were to take that same photo with a telephoto, that same object will be pulled into the photo and add a more dramatic effect. One of the draws of super telephoto lenses is that they narrow the field of view, helping you get closer to a subject that is far away, but it also magnifies the bokeh effect, giving you smooth, pleasing bokeh in the out of focus areas. This helps isolate your subject from the background for intimate close-up photos. Another effect of the high magnification of shooting at focal lengths of 400, 500, 600 is shallower depth of field. This makes it more of a challenge to nail the focus right where you want it. It's great to be able to zoom in on your subject, but with that zoom, you magnify any shake or vibration. For the sharpest possible photos, a good rule is to keep your shutter speed as fast as your focal length. I recommend shooting in shutter priority or full manual so you can set your shutter speed. Keep in mind, if you're using a crop sensor camera like this one, your equivalent field of view is going to be around 240 to 960 millimeters, so keep those shutter speeds high when shooting handheld. This requires high ISO, so if you want to keep the ISO down, use a good tripod or monopod, which leads us to our next tip. Now, when using a lens like this, a tripod or monopod is going to be your best friend. Not just because you'll get tired of holding a 4 to 5 pound lens, but it will give you sharper images than you can get shooting handheld. Now, with a telephoto lens, the field of view is much narrower, so even the smallest amount of movement moves the image more than when using a wide angle lens. The Tamron 150-600 features a rotating tripod collar with a dovetail or Arca type mount, making it convenient to attach to a ball head or gimbal. A gimbal is a favorite of bird photographers because it gives you the ability to move the camera around effortlessly and smoothly because the weight is perfectly balanced. Now, if you're using a ball head, make sure that it is rated to handle the weight of your lens so that the ball doesn't creep while you're shooting. Monopods are also a great option, which allow you for greater mobility while shooting, and they're great for doing some panning shots. Just set your shutter speed between 1/25th to 1/100th of a second, and you can blur the background of fast-moving subjects. Another important tip is if you're using a tripod, turn the vibration compensation off since you already have the lens stabilized. Using the VC while on a tripod could cause vibrations that make you lose sharpness. Now, the Tamron 150-600 offers 4.5 stops of image stabilization, and this allows you to shoot at shutter speeds you normally couldn't when shooting handheld. The VC will help you break that rule that I mentioned about keeping your shutter speed as fast as your focal length. Mode 1 is great for use with telephoto lenses because the stabilizer is working continuously to keep the image steady in the viewfinder. Mode 3 will give you the most stabilization as it will only compensate when the shutter is released. Now, Mode 2 should only be used for panning, which is a great technique for shooting subjects in motion. And then there is a hidden Mode 4 not found on the switch, which is for videography, as it has to be custom programmed using the Tamron tapping console. Also keep in mind that although VC is a very useful feature, it's only effective for slow-moving or stationary subjects. For fast-moving subjects, you will need to use a fast enough shutter speed to freeze the action. So you got this far, what's next? Well, let's say you're all set up to get the perfect shot of the red-shouldered hawk. Well, the picture is not going to be great unless you nail the focus. Get to know the focus settings of your camera. Use servo or continuous autofocus to track your subject. You can adjust your tracking sensitivity in the camera's menu so that you can fine-tune the focusing to match the subject you are shooting. And don't forget, this lens also offers full-time manual focus override. It lets you focus as close as 7.2 feet and has a focus limiter switch that will let you limit the focus to subjects that are closer, within 7 to 32 feet, or further away from 32 to infinity. This is a great way of keeping the lens from losing focus on your subject. Last tip, set your drive mode to high speed and make sure you have a fast memory card for burst shooting. I hope you get out somewhere wild. Now, this lens was made to get outdoors, and I love to see what photos you're getting with your super telephoto lenses, so please share them. As always, thanks for watching, keep on shooting, and I'll catch you in the next video.